Okay, welcome to the creation of an Aberrant. This is the prequel game to Trinity. So the gaming system is pretty much going to be working the overall same concept. So like the character creation is going to be quite similar. So here we see the overview of the character creation. So what I'll do is I'll have this right here so people can pause and actually read it. So what I'm actually going to do is like showcase a character that I've made. Good old James Howlett, aka Wolverine. So what I started off was like I decided to go the step one: concept, nature, and allegiance. So basically, the concept was like I wanted to build Wolverine. Nature, and it works the same way as like a Trinity. So I decided to go with the Survivor. I figure Wolverine is like a Survivor. Now allegiance, I went with Project Proteus. Project Proteus is kind of like a shadowy government agency and everything. So I figure I'm going to work with them as kind of like a secret agent type of deal, sort of like the Norca agent or Norca character I made for Trinity. So I'm like, okay, this is the kind of the character I want to play. So now in step two, I go with select attributes. Now, same concepts: physical, mental, and social. So I choose a primary, a secondary, and tertiary. So what I did is I went with the physical attributes as my primary, mental as my secondary, and social as my tertiary. So what I did is I spent 7 points to bring up the strength to 3, dex to 4, and stamina to 4. So of course, as you can see, that it's going to be higher, but I'm going to explain why in a second. So that's how I did that, and then with the mental, I went since that's secondary. I went 3 perception, 2 intelligence, and 3 wits, and then I did 2 across the board with social attributes. So that I did that way, and then with the desired abilities, I have 23 points to calculate. So what I did, say with this, it says that I can't have them higher than 3. So what I did is I started off with 3 in brawl, 2 in athletics, and then 3 in martial arts, melee, survival, and streetwise. Now I went with things like brawl and martial arts and melee because, like, as everyone knows, Wolverine is kind of like a fighter and everything. So I figured martial arts, brawl, melee, kind of fits him and everything. So, and of course I also went with stealth because like of his like animalistic nature, that he could also be kind of stealthy and everything. So that's what I went with the abilities. So that's the 23 points I spent on abilities. Now backgrounds work the same way as like the backgrounds in Trinity. So like with the Wolverine, I figure since he's working for Project Proteus, which is the shadowy government, like a kind of like spy agency or whatever, I decided to give him Cipher of 5. So pretty much like he's a non-existent sort of. It's kind of the same concept that as the internet is concerned, this Wolverine James Howlett doesn't exist. Now I went with Bakken, so Bakken is kind of like he's I put 2 points in that, so like in sense he's in the sense of status in that organization, so he has 2 points in that, so he's kind of like a low level rank, but like he can pass off most of like his responsibilities underlings. So think of like someone like maybe the sergeant in the military, where he can pass off most of his duties to his corporals and stuff. So I decided to go with that with the backgrounds. Then I record. That was step 4. Now step 5 is like phase 1 of finishing touches. So I recorded initial willpower. So willpower is right here of 3. As I move it up so people can see the rest of the character sheet, and then I recorded initial quantum of 1, and of course this is the back of the sheet. So like I forgot to write down. I did write down like a recorded initial initiative, like a dexterity plus wit. So I put like 1, but of course that's wrong because like I was thinking quantum, but initiative is dexterity plus wit. So like that would have with stuff I did in the phase 2 initiative. I'll up to like since dex is 4 and wits is 3. That's initiative would be 7. I would record movement, so like the same kind of concept as in Trinity. A walk of this one is 7 meters. Uh, Run is Dex plus 12 meters. So 12 plus 4 is 16. Sprint would be Dex times 3, so 4 times 3 is 12, plus 20 is 30 meters. So then I spent bonus points. So like what I did with like the 15 bonus points is that I upped stamina and dexterity and strength. So as you can see, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now I upped all those, and just like in Trinity, if you have a 4 or higher, you do get like in a sense, a kind of like an ability or whatever that you can use. So like I went with the figuring resilient, since Wolverine is such a healer. I went with resilient for stamina. Since he's such a good fighter, I went with coordinated for dexterity, and with strength, since that's the 4, I went with athletic. So now in phase 2, what you do is with step 1 in phase 2, you do the origin. So like you kind of choose the circumstances of the character's transformation. So like in a sense, the eruption right here, I figure he got into a car accident that like led him to, in a sense, erupt his powers. So here in Aberrant, they have what's called the Majoran Rasho node, named after 2 scientists that had found this like a node in the Aberrant, or the Nova's brains, as they're called in here, that let them, in a sense, tap into the quantum energies and everything. So think of them like the MR node is kind of like a pituitary gland, or like it's a gland that's on steroids type of deal that lets them tap into these powers and everything. So step 2 in phase 2 is Nova points. Now there's 30 points you can spend in the table here, and like you can see how like you can spend the background. So like for instance, like what I did was I went with mega attribute of stamina, so that's 3 points. And so like it's pretty much like a 1-for-1 basis when you get a mega attribute. So like if you wanted like for instance stamina here with 5, I'd have to have like a 5 of stamina. So like if I only had like a stamina of 1, I could only get the mega attribute stamina of 1 as well. So I went with the regeneration ability. So now the regeneration ability, how that works is that it basically lets me heal my wounds and everything. So like yeah, it's that Wolverine's healing factor. So down here I use like the quantum pool. So I use those points and everything in a sense, a 1-for-1 basis. So I can basically, like as I'm taking damage, I can sit here use quantum points to, in a sense, get rid of those like that damage I'm taking. So in other words, I can like heal my wounds pretty much instantaneously. So I spent 3 points on that. Then what I did is like with the 6, I spent another point to get 6 ability dots. So that's why I raised melee and martial arts up by 2 to get like those up to 5. And since brawl was 2, I had 2, 4, and then 6 to raise brawl up to like a 4, because it gets back into the idea that the Wolverine is a fighter. So that's like 4 points right there. So then what I did is we started off with a quantum of 1. I spent 20 points to raise it up to 5, and you can only start off with a quantum of 5. So that's why like my quantum pool here is so big, because your quantum pool is like 20 plus your quantum times 2. So like your quantum here would be 5 times 2 plus 20, which would give me 30 quantum points. So I'm pretty much going to be primarily using it for regeneration and everything. So I used the last of the 30 points, because that was like right there was like a 20, like a quantum 5, 10, 15, 20, plus the 6 ability scores, like 21. Mega attribute is 24. Then I went to willpower, and it's a 1-for-1 basis. So I started off with 3 willpower. So I raised it 6 to willpower of 9. So willpower, like in Trinity, gives you like automatic successes. So like every time I use a willpower point, I get an automatic success. Now the same kind of concept works here for your abilities. I roll how many d10s per dot, one for one basis per dot for abilities. So, for instance, like with if I'm in a fist fight and I'm using martial arts, I take like the 4 dexterity plus the 5 melee, and I'd roll 9 dice, and I'd have to get a 7, 8, 9, or 10 to succeed. Now, the way mega attributes also work is that you can add those to, in a sense, that pool. So, like, for instance, uh, using stamina. So maybe like I'm trying to. All Novas start off with 3 endurance and 3 resistance. So like I'm maybe trying to like resist damage or whatever. So I take my stamina of 5, I add the 3 resistance, so there's 8. Now I can add in those 5 dots or whatever for mega attribute, and now I'd have in a sense 13. So, but also what's different about mega attributes is it's not just a one for one deal. So like for normal abilities, you get 1 success per die roll or whatever. Here you get for 7, 8s, and 9s with mega attributes. For every success you get on the 7, 8, or 9, you actually get 2 successes, and on 10s you actually get 3. And another thing you can do in mega attributes is like you can do that, or you can use 1 dot to kind of reduce like a difficulty. So maybe I'm trying to like for instance like with the stamina, doing the resistance again. Maybe like I'm trying to like shrug off like someone shooting a gun at me, and I'm trying to shrug off the damage. And the difficulty, say the game master says, okay, to shrug off that damage, the difficulty is like +5. What I can do is I can use dots to reduce that difficulty. So I could use all 5 mega attribute dots to reduce that +5 difficulty down to 0. So then I pretty much would only need like a 1 success out of 8 dice to be able to, in instance, shrug that off and everything. So you can do one or the other type of deal. So like for instance, or it could also do reduce the difficulty from 5 down to 4, and then use the other 4 dots to add on to the 5 stamina and 3 resistance. So that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So I'd have 12 dice to roll to get, in a sense, like 4 successes instead of 5 type of deal. So that's how mega attributes work, and the same thing goes for like different like abilities for attributes for mental and for social as well. Now, of course, I went with like the Wolverine as an example to make it, but of course you can quite possibly make the Incredible Hulk. You could do mega attribute of strength and everything to, in a sense, do the Hulk. Of course, now using DC characters, what you could do is you could get, in a sense, like for your mental attributes, you could jack up intelligence and wits and stuff and perception, get mega attributes and that and everything. You could also jack up your base like attributes here, and to be able to create Batman. So you could, in a sense, like use bonus points to jack up your physical attributes, get your mental attributes as your primary, get the mega intelligence and mega wits, and create Batman, someone who's super smart and using his abilities precisely when he wants to and everything. And of course, you could also make Superman. So they do have like a different like abilities. So like what I'll do is I'll showcase some of the abilities. Like here they have like the ability of healing. So there are different levels and everything. This one's a level 3. You need a minimum quantum of 4 to be able to use. It talks about like the range. Basically, you just touch area, duration, effect, multiple actions, description, and it gets into the description. And same thing with the holo right there. You get into homunculus, like a hyper movement, hypnosis. You even have like invisibility, so you could, in a sense, create the invisible man. So like you do have flights, mental blast, matter creation. So like you have like a whole slew of like different abilities, like quantum bolt. So in a sense, you could, in a sense, fire out fireballs from like your hands and everything with quantum bolt type of deal. So that, in a sense, the type of characters that you could create in this are limitless. Now, I tend to like why I wrote Wolverines. I'm someone who tends to like writing up characters that have the mega attributes and everything. So like someone's like a Wolverine here is super resilient, or like Batman example I use, who's like in a sense like super intelligent and has like super wits above and beyond the normal human mode and everything. So, but of course, like I said, you do have abilities like flight. You do have like in a sense like Superman's laser vision and like stuff like that that you can be able to create characters. But for the character creation here, what I did, as you can see, is I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to play Wolverine as an aberrant, or in this case, in Nova. So this book is set in the year 2008, and it's a prequel to Trinity, which is set in 2021. So again, I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to make Wolverine, and so I used Wolverine as an example on just one type of character that you can create in Aberrant. So again, the types of characters you can create in this are pretty much only limited to the your ability of your imagination as well.